Good afternoon. This is Hope Rosky, and I'm here with somebody very special. No, it's not Take Your Daughter to Work Day, but for me, it's Take Your Daughter to Work Day because I'm here with my daughter, Faith Rosky. Welcome, Faith.
Hi, it's great to be here.
I'm glad you can be here too, my child.
It's lovely meeting you.
Yeah, it's lovely meeting you too. We met like 20 years ago, correct?
I believe so.
Yes,
yeah,
we did.
Sometime around then.
Yes, it was. This show is called Business, Arts, and More Cool Stuff. Well, for me, this is the cool stuff, having my daughter here. And one of the things that has come to our attention about things that are kind of cool and interesting is this whole new Gen Z vibe. And as a parent, I'm still learning too. And my daughter's continually educating me about what the Gen Zs are thinking. And it's certainly not the way maybe I was brought up or how
Right.
I was taught to think.
Yeah.
But there's some things that really I think are such sensitive issues, and I think first and foremost that's in the forefront of most people's mind is mental health and how it relates to the Gen Z group.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm hoping you can give some insight to that because both you and I know some of the trials and tribulations that go with that in that Gen Z world.
Absolutely, and I think it's always best to, get things directly from the source. It's very, very easy to lump a group of people together and to make assumptions, especially generationally, just because there's such a huge disconnect, and especially with such the drastic difference that Gen Z has, with now our lives being so focused within technology and that not being very applicable or available before to a lot of generations at the age we're in right now. So I think it's just best to get things directly from the source. So I appreciate you asking me to come on and having me talk about this.
Well, I'm glad you're here. So one of the things that you mentioned was technology.
Yeah.
And with technology comes social media. And
Right.
as a parent, I have seen things unfold in the world of, maybe with you and your peers and how social media can, maybe serve in some positive ways, but also have some things that are really downright negative. Can you address some of that?
Oh,
please?
yeah, absolutely. I see social media as a tool because that's what it was intended to be. Facebook was probably one of the first social media platforms created, I believe. I'm no expert in this, but that's from what I understand.
Yeah, old people like me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, because there was MySpace and there was Facebook, and those were the main things. And those were platforms to just be able to meet people and make connections and maintain those, even from a distance, like a physical distance and whatnot. And so those are tools that make our lives easier. However, over time, social media has barreled and snowballed into this very large life force where now almost we as human beings are the tools for social media rather. And, a lot of social media platforms, the people who run those won't even let their kids have social media because it's programmed to literally be addicting because it's their business. They want to succeed at it, obviously. So they'll go as far as actually programming. They'll have psychologists come on the team and create social media to be so addicting to the point where it's actually your brain reacts to it in the same way as a drug. And so the more notifications, even with texting, the more notifications and dinging that you get, your body will get that serotonin and especially that dopamine surge. But then when you don't get those, it's not just that, your body won't get that serotonin and dopamine surge, but you will actually be going through a minor withdrawal. And so you get depressed because anyone, when they're going through withdrawals from something that they're addicted to, whatever it is, it's brutal. It's brutal on the system. It's brutal in the mind. And so that's a large source of the depression because people can't always be there constantly.
Right.
People fluctuate. People have lives and things to do. And so when one person may be sitting around and in their room and not doing anything, another person may be off, traveling, and so there won't be as many notifications coming in, say if they were friends, and so the person that's at home will become very, very depressed, and they'll have that sort of FOMO, fear of missing out and whatnot, and it just spirals. It's a very much a ripple effect. And not to mention, the cyberbullying, which I have to say has gone down a lot over time, because social media, I have to give it that credit. It does take a lot of that very, very seriously. You can flag posts, you can report people. It's pretty straightforward in that way. So I do appreciate that aspect for sure.
And I think that, you brought up a term that I've never heard before, FOMO.
Yeah. Fear of missing out. I definitely suffer from it.
Fear of missing out. I think sometimes we fear of missing out of certain things. But one of the things that you brought up is so true, is that when we don't get that text, we have, I think, grown up in a world now with social media validation.
Yes.
It's like we get these likes, and it's like, well, why didn't I get the heart? I just got the thumbs up. And it's like, is that not good enough? And
they intentionally do that, though, to rile you up, because then you're so much more. It's like when someone pulls away, you want to go to them even more. So when they add these new things where it's like a like versus a super like or whatever, it's like, well, why didn't I get the super like? And then you become more invested in, making your profile or your persona more likable or applicable to whatever it is. And then you're spending more time on social media. So it's a business tactic.
Well, speaking of likes and super likes, one of the things that's really changed is the world of dating. Now, of course, back in your Mother's Day.
Oh, yes.
Way back when, it used to be you'd meet someone and you would exchange a phone number, somebody would call you and you would get so excited when you, talk about the rush. When the phone would ring, it's like, yay, this person called.
Yes.
Well, dating has really transformed itself into swiping. Mm-hmm. Swipe right.
Yes.
I don't get it. I mean, does Gen Z even grasp a phone call? I mean, do they even know what it means to
some do, obviously. I mean, statistically speaking, there have got to be people out there, and I've definitely, I've been able to find those people that, where the phone call is a norm, but it definitely took so much longer to file down to, and that's because of two things. One, because of laziness, and two, because of a sort of disconnect from reality, because you're investing so much time. What I was saying about FOMO is, all of us, we're so scared of missing out on life. We're seeing our friends go to these really great, neat places or do these wild and fun things, and we're like, why can't I do that? So we spend more time on social media kind of mulling over it and feeling bummed out that literally life is passing us by and we could be creating those situations for ourselves. And so that assertiveness sort of to create and to build our life the way that we want it isn't really there anymore. And it's not any of our faults necessarily. It's just the hand of cards we were dealt. And a lot of times people aren't realizing that we're kind of being confined in that sort of a way. And so with the whole swiping thing, it's this sort of disconnect from reality, and people are within reality, so it's a disconnect from people as well. And so now with social media, people are seeing each other literally as an accessory or as a commodity. It's almost like a trading market, like you're on Wall Street, or you're shopping for some furniture, like, oh, this couch is nice, but this one would look better in the living room, or, oh, I like this couch, it's really beautiful, but it's a little too expensive, it's a little too much work to have to move it into the house, that sort of a thing. And rather than, is this person going to fulfill me? Is this person compatible for me? Do this person and I have the same objectives and goals of what we want to get out of this? And so it's that sort of disconnect from seeing people as people. That's really a huge issue, even outside of dating apps, just because dating apps have really taken over everything. And now even in real life, people are starting to date actual or treat actual like real life dating situations as though it's a dating app as well. That's what I've noticed personally. So,
well, in this whole Gen Z world, where do you think the Gen Zs need to? I don't want to say that they're failing, but where do you see them needing to improve? Like, where do you think things need to come up for your age group? And this Gen Z is basically from 1997 on up. So if you were born from 1997 on up, you fit in the Gen Z population.
I think Gen Z needs to start knowing how to think versus what to think. I think that a lot of us with that laziness as well, that comes with dating apps and with everything being so comfortable and so accessible to us through the internet, we've never really had to go out and kind of go on a sort of intellectual search of our own, or just a search for knowledge on our own. And we just sort of, eat what's put on the table. And I think we need to realize that, look, it's a balance. These things that we have now, that weren't present, back then. I mean, I sometimes I'll think to myself, would I prefer to have lived in such and such time versus now? And
I know you've brought that up to me, and you said, I wish I could have lived in your generation where things were more grounded.
If I lived in the 80s, life would be so perfect. But I also think about, look, the rise in technology also helps with a lot of, diseases and whatnot, and, just this expansion of knowledge in the medical field and also in the technological field. It makes things easier and can make things safer and easier for us. The problem is that there's no balance between the two. So really, I want to emphasize this. Recognizing technology and all of these sort of commodity things as things that are supposed to make the deeper stuff easier. It's not supposed to make the deeper stuff shallow. It should make the deeper stuff more attainable and easy to attain.
It's like the difference between the use and the abuse of something.
Absolutely. And really just, I like to think of a 30-70 rule. So 30% of your day and the things you accomplish within your day should be done through technology. So a lot of homework nowadays is supposed to be completed on the computer if you have to type an essay, whatever it is. Or if you're supposed to meet up with a friend, you want to text them and say, hey, are you on your way, et cetera, et cetera. That's perfect. That's what it should be for, But then once you're with that friend, or once you've completed that essay, read a book, talk face to face. I mean, you see all these people, they're sitting in the same room and they're texting each other, or they have their headphones on and they're just not paying attention to each other. They're completely zoned out. And so it's wild in the sense that the things that can recharge your social battery and make you not want to be on the phone, a lot of us aren't really taking advantage of that. And so when we do hang out with our friends, we want to be on the phone and recharge our social battery, even though that's very draining and it's taking away from what we're actually doing.
Sure.
So really just having a balance between the two, with the scale slightly tipped more on the side of being present and being in the moment, because I can guarantee you, as someone that has battled depression and that really used to centralize my life in that sort of a way and experience life in that sort of a way, life is so much more worth living once you're actually living it, versus just kind of on autopilot and going through the motions. When you create those experiences for yourself, rather than being jealous or being insecure or being frustrated that these things aren't coming to you, create a platform for your life where the door is open for those things to come to you, and put yourself out there. Social media, because we're so consumed in it, it keeps us from actually like going out and actually doing things, because that's what will get you those fun experiences and those memories, and so really being in the moment, really being present, using social media as a tool, and being open-minded and really being assertive and putting yourself out there and being confident in yourself, because that's how you essentially do that, just having faith in yourself. So,
and that's spoken right from the mouth of Faith Rosky right there. Well, Faith, I can't begin to tell you, first of all, how proud I am of you.
Thank you.
And that young woman that you have become. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be here. I know there's so much more to talk about, and I'm hoping that we can come back and talk a little bit more about, other aspects of Gen Z. So with leaving, and before we go, is there any final last words of wisdom that you'd like to say out there to people that are in your age group, or even people who are parents?
Yeah, as for parents, be patient with your kids, create open lines of communication with your kids, give advice, but don't force advice. And as for people in my age group, really live your life and really be confident in yourself. And if you don't have that, the key is to just really fake it till you make it, and you'll start believing it, and those things that you want will start to come to you, and it goes full circle. So
that's it. Just kind of manifest it out there, and then
Yeah.
start, being a part of your reality. And just if you're in that point of reinventing yourself, be a part of that reinvention, because you never know what wonderful things will happen for you. And I am so blessed, and I love this one right here. We'll be right back with you.